Hi everybody, welcome to the week one screening introduction. Each week, myself or a member of the teaching staff on the module will do a short introduction to the film in question that's being screened to give you a brief overview of what to expect, some of the themes and some of the kind of issues or questions you might want to look out for. So, the first film that we're going to screen on the module is the David Cronenberg film from 1975, Shivers. This is one of the earliest films that acquired the name body horror. It's a 1975 film from, I think it was a Canadian film. I think it was backed by the French-Canadian I think it was a French-Canadian co-production, essentially. And it went by multiple different names throughout production. It was known as, Frissons, the Parasite Murders, yes. It was also referred to as Orgy of the Blood Parasites. It stars Paul Hampton, Lynn Lowry and Barbara Steele. And it's based in a kind of an apartment block, a kind of luxury apartment block called Starliner Towers, on the outskirts of Montreal, a kind of upper middle class enclave, a self-contained community, if you like. And it opens with a bizarre doctor of some sort, Emil Hobbs, murdering a young schoolgirl, college girl. It's a bit dubious as to kind of how old she is, slicing open her stomach, pouring acid into the wound, and then he goes on to commit suicide. So, trigger warning, it opens with a schoolgirl being attacked, and there are hints at sexual assault in this, so I just need to flag up that trigger warning in advance. The rest of the film then proceeds to find members of the community becoming infected some way with this kind of parasite that Dr. Emil Hobbs had been experimenting with. And it's a relatively short film. It's only about 90 minutes, an hour and a half. The film should be in review for you to kind of look at. It's not available on Box of Broadcasts, and it's hardly even available in many online streaming platforms either. So it was the director's third feature film, and it was the most profitable Canadian film that had ever been made up until 1975, but it was a very, very controversial film. So controversial that the Canadian Parliament debated its social and artistic values and its failings, as well as its potential danger, the danger posed to society because of its sexual and violent content. So you need to know that. You need to be aware of that. It is very low budget. There's a lot of effects that I guess you would. Some might see them as being laughable. Often there's that kind of uncomfortable. There's an uncomfortable feeling about seeing some of the effects in this film as well. So just be prepared for those. It's not going to be a CGI fest by any stretch of the imagination. But I've got a few things for you to consider before going into this film. Don't go into it blind. The film was described as being quite a reactionary film when it was released in 1975. And typically reactionary films are thought of as being kind of responses to conservative values or norms. So what do you think it's reacting to, or what do you think it's reacting against? Thinking of the context of 1975, what could it potentially be speaking to and speaking of and speaking against? So that's the first thing you need to have a little thought about. Second point, second question, second thing to consider is the film was made by a company called Cineplex. Now, Cineplex had been renowned for making softcore porn productions, and the publicly funded Canadian Film Development Fund also chipped in money for it. So it was co-produced by a softcore pornographer and by the Canadian Film Development Fund, by the government essentially. Do you think this tension between a pornographer and a government artistic body giving out grants, do you think this tension between the film wanting to be artistic and also being sexually exploitative on the other hand is evident at a technical level? Can you see it at a technical level? Does the film cater or pander to both financial sources, if you like? So the third point, the film comments, I think, on the biological limits of the human body, and it offers quite a radical alternative to the standard form of human evolution, primarily through the form of the parasite. So to what extent is this film hopeful, ambivalent, cynical regarding the body and its functions, the body and its feelings, the body and its limits. And the last point I think you should look out for is that the film touches on a number of taboos. You know, those ideas that are kind of socially frowned upon or thought too dark to mention. It touches on things like paedophilia. It touches on issues to do with polygamy and incest. So it's quite a bleak film in that regard. Do you think these taboos are being presented merely to shock the audience? If not, why do you think these themes are so clearly manifest? So they're the things I'd like you to think about. It's reactionary. Reacting against what? It's a co-production between an artistic body and a pornographer. Can you see this? Can you see this evidence in the production? It comments on the biological limits of the human body. So is the film hopeful, ambivalent, cynical? And it touches on all sorts of taboos. And do you think these taboos are there to shock, or if not, why are they there? Okay, try and enjoy it if you can. Big ask. We will be looking at a variety of different Cronenberg films in the workshop and in the lecture. If you are interested, I'll single out just one Cronenberg film that you might want to watch alongside this, and that's his follow-up to this film. It's not exactly, not a kind of chronological follow-up by any stretch of the imagination, but it's the film that he made directly afterwards, chronologically, and that's the film called Rabid, which was, I think, remade in 2019 as well. It shares similar themes. Okay, we'll be coming back to Cronenberg in another week anyway. See you soon.